Welcome back to the Malted Man Cave. Tonight we are going to be doing a Scotch whiskey from a distillery that I have never had before. I am just fresh off the heels of celebrating my 34th birthday, and my parents lovingly got me some Balblair 99, a vintage from 1999 from Master Malt. They gave me the money, I ordered it, and I've been getting into it. But actually, that is not what we're going to be doing tonight. Along with this, I ordered a little sample, which is an amazing thing that Master Malt has. It's called Drinks by the Dram. And this is the Balblair 2004 first release, which is all bourbon matured. And the great thing about this is it checks all the boxes that Daddy like. 46% ABV, not chill filtered, and no color added. So Balblair likes to fancy themselves the second oldest distillery in Scotland. But in doing some of my research, and we all know it's more of a soft science and a hard science of when these distilleries were opened. But everything I've read, it's kind of generally accepted that Glenturret is actually the oldest distillery. I believe in 1775 is when they're credited for opening. Excuse me. Followed by Bowmore. And in third comes Strathisla, and lastly in fourth is Balblair, which I believe was in 1790. It is a Highland Scotch whiskey located along the Dornoch Firth, right down the road from Glenmorangie, which is one of the distilleries and one of the type of Scotch whiskeys that actually got me into single malt. And they share a lot of characteristics, kind of. You know, it's not like that real maritime briny notes you get from Islay, but just this kind of like mild, elegant maritime notes. So, anything else that I want to say about this? No, I don't think so. It's time to taste some whiskey. So without further ado, let's get into the nose. This one really benefits from sitting in the glass for a while, and only a drop. I know it's 46% ABV. Don't add more than a drop or two, because this gets watered down pretty quickly and the flavor can go. It is just, on the nose, actually the first thing I put in my notes was it is just incredibly light and subtle, and it's not a bad thing. Normally I like hardcore, just boom, like cask strength, Springbank, sherry or Amontillado, which by the way, I got for my birthday as well, Springbank 16 cask strength Amontillado, which is the best whiskey I've had yet today. It is amazing how much flavor is jam-packed. So that review will be coming. But this was actually a nice change of pace, like just how subtle it was, and I actually had to take my time with it to get the notes. So first I get peaches and cream, and like I said before, in my Glenmorangie 18 review, I got peaches and cream just the whole way through, and this is there. This shares a lot of similarities with Glenmorangie. Lemon meringue pie, and a little bit of those apple notes. Apparently Balblair is very famous for kind of this apple note, and it's not as sharp, and I'll get into that on this. This was almost unpleasantly sharp apple note, almost like prickly pine at first. But if you let this sit in the bottle and let it aerate, give it some time, this opens up beautifully, and it's like freaking warm apple cider. It's unbelievable. But at first I was like, I don't even know if I like this. But apparently you get apple notes in that, but you also get it pretty much throughout the whole range. And it's not strong in this one. It's just very mild apple notes in the background. A little bit of floral, nutmeg, cinnamon, and kind of a slight sour vanilla and honey. And again, I put in my notes that this reminds me of a mix between Glenmorangie 18 and Balvenie 12 single barrel. Kind of that Chardonnay, sour, honeyed vanilla that you got from the Balvenie, and just that peaches and cream floral that you get with the Glenmorangie 18. So Very, very good stuff for only a 10-year-old whiskey. All right, onto the palate. Warm apple pie, coconut cream pie, nutmeg, honey, and cinnamon. A little bit of spices other than the nutmeg and cinnamon. I'm trying to think, is there a little bit of allspice or clove in the background? Yeah, just a touch. Just a touch of kind of cloves and allspice. I didn't really, excuse me, I didn't really get to work with this and sit down and really get to know this whiskey because obviously I just had this little tiny sample. So my notes may not be quite on point or as in depth as maybe I like to hopefully normally do. On the finish, I get kind of a slight drying oak that kind of goes into this Chardonnay, white wine, and sour vanilla, and it just slowly fades. I would say more of a moderate. It's actually longer than I thought it was going to be, judging by the nose and how subtle it was. But I would say it's a moderate finish, and a very, very pleasant, very pleasant dram. There's not a wow factor in this one. Very pleasant, a very good experience. I'm glad I tried it, and I would get a bottle of this. So go out and get you some. The Malted Man Cave mark is an 87 out of 100. So my first two experiences with Balblair were pretty positive. Initially, it was negative with the 99. But like I said, this definitely gets way better with time. So this review of the Balblair 99 will be coming up shortly with my buddy Dave. Unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't include him because there just wasn't enough whiskey. I could barely even sample it myself. So, Sláinte, like, subscribe, leave some comments. Let me know if you've had any other Balblair, what your experience has been with it. I'd love to hear about it, and love to know if there's any other Balblair offerings that are really good that are worth my time and money. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Sláinte.